Welcome back to Jungkook Update. Something about Jungkook's Toronto Day 1 update has caught fans completely off guard. Before the lights, before the stage, and before the soundcheck officially began, attention suddenly turned to a much quieter moment involving Jungkook, a reported backstage scene in which the global star appeared to have fallen asleep before the performance preparations. It sounds simple, but that is exactly why fans are talking about it. Jungkook is known around the world for his powerful performances, intense stage presence, and seemingly endless energy once the spotlight comes on. So when an image or behind-the-scenes update appears to show him resting backstage before soundcheck, fans naturally become curious. How tired was Jungkook before Toronto Day 1? What was happening behind the scenes before he stepped onto the stage? And most importantly, what do we actually know about the moment that has fans paying so much attention? Before we get into the details, make sure you hit like, subscribe to Jungkook Update, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the latest Jungkook updates. Now, let's get into the Toronto update. Jungkook's Toronto schedule has been attracting major attention because August 22 marks day 1 of BTS's Toronto stop on the ARIRANG World Tour. The official Ticketmaster Canada listing confirms that the Toronto concert is scheduled for Saturday, August 22, 2026 at Rogers Stadium, with the show scheduled to begin at 8:00 p.m. For Jungkook, that means another major performance day in a tour schedule that has already taken him through multiple North American cities. And that context matters. A concert day is not simply the moment fans see an artist walk onto a stage. For a performer like Jungkook, the hours before the show can involve preparation, rehearsals, soundcheck, wardrobe, technical coordination, vocal preparation, movement practice, and the countless details that have to come together before the audience ever sees the finished performance. That is why the reported backstage moment has attracted so much attention. Instead of seeing Jungkook in full performance mode, fans were presented with a much quieter image of the artist appearing to rest before soundcheck. And suddenly the contrast became the story. On stage, Jungkook can command an enormous stadium. Backstage, however, there can be moments when the same global superstar simply needs to close his eyes and recharge. That is what made this update feel so relatable to many fans. The moment being discussed is reportedly connected to Jungkook falling asleep backstage before the Toronto Day 1 soundcheck, with the image said to have been captured by J-Hope. However, this is exactly where we need to separate what is known from what is being discussed online. The Toronto concert itself is officially listed for August 22 at Rogers Stadium, and the venue schedule confirms that the Toronto stop is part of the current ARIRANG World Tour. The soundcheck is also a real part of the VIP experience associated with the tour. Ticketmaster Canada describes the soundcheck VIP package as including access to the pre-show BTS soundcheck, along with early venue entry and other VIP benefits. But the specific claim that Jungkook fell asleep backstage, along with the exact circumstances surrounding the image reportedly captured by J-Hope, should be treated as reported or fan-circulated information unless an official source confirms those details. That distinction is important, because when a Jungkook moment begins spreading quickly across social media, it can be easy for a simple backstage image to become surrounded by assumptions. Fans may wonder how long he had been sleeping. They may wonder whether he was exhausted. They may wonder whether the intense tour schedule had finally caught up with him. They may even try to interpret what the image says about how Jungkook was feeling at that exact moment, but those answers cannot be confirmed simply by looking at a photograph. The honest answer is that the reason Jungkook appeared to be resting has not been officially confirmed. And that makes the image interesting without requiring us to invent a story around it. What we can say is that the timing is significant. Jungkook was preparing for another major stadium performance in Toronto. The official schedule places the Day 1 concert at Rogers Stadium on August 22, followed by a second Toronto performance on August 23. That means the backstage period before soundcheck was part of a demanding performance environment. And seeing Jungkook resting during that period gives fans a rare glimpse into the quieter side of an enormous concert day. For an artist who spends so much time under intense public attention, a few quiet minutes backstage can look surprisingly meaningful. There is also something visually striking about the contrast. Jungkook is one of the most recognizable performers in the world. Millions of people know him for his voice, choreography, live performances, and ability to transform the atmosphere of a stadium. Yet a backstage moment can show something completely different. No stage lights, no massive audience, no choreography, no performance expression, just Jungkook apparently taking a moment to rest. And that simple contrast is probably one reason the image has resonated with fans. Many fans quickly began discussing Jungkook's condition and appearance, with online conversations focusing on how peaceful and unexpected the moment looked. Some fans interpreted the scene as a reminder that even a global superstar needs rest. Others simply found the image adorable because of how different it looked from the intense performer they were expecting to see later that day. Those are fan reactions, not confirmed statements about Jungkook's personal feelings or physical condition. And that distinction matters. We should not automatically say Jungkook was exhausted, unwell, overwhelmed, or struggling simply because he appeared to be asleep. None of those conclusions can be established from the image alone. What can be appreciated is the human side of the moment. Jungkook has spent years developing himself as a performer, and his career has placed him on some of the biggest stages in the world. Every major concert requires preparation. Every performance requires energy. Every tour stop brings another schedule, another venue, another audience, and another opportunity to deliver a memorable performance. So when fans see him resting before a show, it can serve as a reminder that the polished performance they eventually see is built on hours of preparation and recovery. And this is where the Toronto update becomes bigger than one sleepy backstage image. It gives fans a small window into the reality behind Jungkook's stage presence. The audience sees the finished product, they see the lights, they hear the music, they see the choreography, they watch Jungkook perform with confidence and intensity. But behind that performance is a long process that viewers rarely see. There are quiet moments, there are preparation moments. There are moments when Jungkook can simply sit down, close his eyes, and prepare himself for what comes next. That contrast is part of what makes behind-the-scenes footage so fascinating. And for Toronto Day 1, that contrast became especially noticeable. The Toronto stop itself is significant within the current tour schedule. Ticketmaster Canada lists Toronto for August 22 and August 23 before the tour moves on to Chicago later in the month. So Jungkook was not simply preparing for an ordinary appearance. He was preparing for another large-scale stadium performance in the middle of an international tour. That makes every backstage moment more interesting because it gives fans a glimpse of what happens before the performance begins. But there is another detail worth considering. The reported image does not necessarily tell us how Jungkook performed afterward. A photo of someone resting before a concert cannot predict what happens once the music starts. And Jungkook has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to shift from quiet preparation into full performance mode. That transformation is one of the most recognizable parts of his career. One moment fans may see a relaxed Jungkook away from the stage, then the lights come on, the music begins, and suddenly the performer appears. That is why the Toronto Day 1 update is so intriguing. The reported backstage moment shows one side of Jungkook while the concert represents another. The quiet side, and the performer, the person resting, and the artist preparing to perform. The contrast is powerful precisely because neither side needs to be exaggerated. There is no need to claim that the moment reveals something secret about Jungkook. There is no need to create a dramatic explanation for why he was sleeping. There is no need to turn a simple backstage moment into a story about his private life. The image can simply be appreciated for what it appears to show, Jungkook taking a quiet moment before another major performance. And for fans, that can be enough. It also highlights something important about the relationship between Jungkook and his audience. Fans often experience him through performances, official content, interviews, music releases, and public appearances. Those moments are carefully presented, but an unexpected backstage image can feel different because it shows a more ordinary moment. Not necessarily a private moment in the sense of revealing something personal, but an everyday human action that everyone understands. Being tired, sitting down, closing your eyes, taking a short break, getting ready for what comes next, that is something fans can relate to, and perhaps that is why the reaction has been so warm. Jungkook is a global superstar, but the image itself is remarkably simple. There is no elaborate performance, there is no dramatic pose, there is no major announcement. There is simply the possibility that before stepping onto one of Toronto's biggest stages, Jungkook found a quiet moment to rest. And now let's return to the detail that sparked the attention in the first place. Did Jungkook really fall asleep backstage before the Toronto Day 1 soundcheck? Based on the topic circulating among fans, that is how the moment is being described. But unless an official source directly confirms the circumstances, the safest way to describe it is as a reported or fan-circulated backstage moment rather than an independently confirmed fact. Was the moment captured by J-Hope? That is also part of the circulating description, but the specific circumstances should not be presented as officially confirmed without a reliable source. What about why Jungkook was sleeping? That remains unknown. The reason has not been officially confirmed. And that is where we should stop rather than filling the gap with speculation. Some fans may develop theories about his schedule or energy levels. Some may believe he simply wanted a quick nap before soundcheck. Others may see it as an adorable backstage moment. Those interpretations belong to the fandom discussion. They are not established facts about Jungkook. What is confirmed is that Jungkook was scheduled to perform in Toronto on August 22, 2026 at Rogers Stadium with the show scheduled for 8:00 p.m. And the existence of a pre-show soundcheck is also part of the official VIP package information. Everything beyond that should be handled carefully, because the most compelling Jungkook stories do not need invented details. His actual career already provides enough. From his development as a vocalist and performer to his ability to perform on enormous international stages, his journey has been built through years of work. A small backstage moment does not erase that. If anything, it adds another layer to how fans see the artist. The person who can deliver a huge performance is also someone who needs moments of rest before giving everything to the audience. And that is perhaps the most relatable part of this Toronto update. Behind every powerful performance is preparation. Behind every high-energy stage is recovery. And behind the global superstar fans see under the lights is Jungkook, an artist who still has to prepare his body and mind for the next performance. So what does this actually mean for Jungkook? Right now, the honest answer is simple. It means fans are paying close attention to a reported backstage moment from the Toronto Day 1 schedule, and the image has sparked discussion because of its unexpectedly quiet and human quality. It does not confirm that Jungkook was struggling. It does not confirm that he was unwell. It does not reveal his private thoughts. And it does not prove why he fell asleep. What it does provide is a small glimpse into the hours before Jungkook takes the stage. Toronto Day 1 represents another major stop in his ongoing performance schedule, and before the stadium lights come alive, there may be moments that look completely different from the spectacle waiting outside. For Jungkook, one of those moments may have been a few quiet minutes of sleep backstage. And perhaps that is why this particular update has captured so much attention. Because sometimes, the smallest moments can make a global superstar feel the most human. Jungkook does not have to be performing for fans to notice him. He does not have to be under the spotlight for a moment to become memorable. Sometimes all it takes is a quiet backstage scene before the next big performance. And as Toronto Day 1 moves forward, the focus ultimately returns to the artist himself, Jungkook preparing for another major stage, another audience, and another night in front of fans who have been waiting to see him perform. The reported backstage nap may have lasted only a short time, but for fans watching from around the world, it became a reminder that even the biggest performances begin with something much simpler: preparation, patience, and a moment to breathe before the lights come on. If you enjoyed this Jungkook update, make sure to hit like, subscribe to Kpop Update, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the latest news, moments, and updates about Jungkook. And now we want to hear from you. What did you think about Jungkook's quiet backstage moment before the Toronto Day 1 soundcheck? Did you find the moment adorable and relatable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Most importantly, let's continue supporting Jungkook by celebrating his music, his performances, his hard work, and his incredible journey as an artist. From a quiet moment backstage to one of the biggest stages in Toronto, every part of Jungkook's journey reminds fans why his dedication continues to inspire people around the world. Keep supporting Jungkook, keep enjoying his music, and stay tuned to Kpop Update for more Jungkook-focused updates. Until the next update, keep your eyes on Jungkook and keep celebrating his journey.